Welcome to Crazy Shit in Real Estate, a weekly podcast where I walk you through some of the wildest, most unbelievable stories you'll hear from the world of real estate. If you like real estate and you love crazy, this is the podcast for you. Before we get any further into this episode, I've got some information to share.
Oh, it's true. Real estate is super competitive and harder than you expected. That's why I created Leigh Brown University. It's everything you need to take you from point A to point whatever your goal is. You could be new to the business or a seasoned vet. I'll help you break through to the next level so that your professional life can look exactly like you desire. Enroll in Leigh Brown University today. I'll help you get there.
I hate to interrupt you, but you got to tell me something about this apartment building. Did your parents buy this as a source of revenue, or was it a retirement vehicle, or were they just, why did they go after this little apartment building? I mean, that's the classic first investment.
So what had happened was I was brought up and raised in Chicago, and we lived in this one-bedroom apartment, the whole family, my younger brother and myself. And my parents were, scurrying all their money together to purchase a house, to live out, to live the American dream, to own their own property, their own home. And I don't know how they were able to figure out that this property, this building that they were renting from went up for sale. And so they put all their money together, including borrowing some money from family, and they put the down payment to purchase this apartment building. And everything was wonderful.
You were already living there.
Pardon me? Yes.
The one you were already living in? I love this. This is the best story ever.
Yeah. So that's what happened to them. So they purchased this building. They saw the opportunity. They bought it. And everything was fine initially. And then all of a sudden, the oil embargo and then the Iran hostage situation, interest rates going up to 18, 20%, and inflation was ridiculous. All that kind of stuff really depressed the economy, in particular Chicago, where a lot of people started migrating out of the city. And all of a sudden, my parents were faced with vacancies of 40 to 60%. And as a kid in our neighborhood, it was a beautiful neighborhood. I remember buildings were being torched by landlords to collect insurance money because the economy was so bad. Landlords they had vacancy rates of 40, 60, 50%, and they just couldn't make the bills, couldn't pay their bills, couldn't pay their mortgages.
How did they hang on then? Because obviously they were determined not to lose what they put their life savings into.
Yes, and that's why as a family, we never went on vacations. We would buy dented 10-cent cans. I remember going to the supermarket and there would be a shopping cart with cans that had that paper removed and then nobody would know what the heck they were. And so we as a family would buy those 10-cent cans, bring them home. And as I remember as a kid huddling around that table, opening them up and yay, it's a cocktail, fruit cocktail. We'd have dessert that day, and then sometimes it'd be dog food, and we'd have to throw it out because we didn't have a dog. But anyways, it gave me the background associated with real estate. We did everything from roofing to plumbing to cleaning toilets, all that kind of stuff. It gave me that background as a kid growing up. And so it was natural progression when I got out of university to get into general contract, to get in the real estate industry. And so I started my business. And luckily, during that time, in the early 90s, it was a good time in real estate. And I was getting more and more progressively busy. But what ended up happening was I keep running into the same kind of cats who I would price out work for, who are in their real estate investment. They had a portfolios of property and would buy, they would flip, they would hold on to. And then I realized, hey, you know what, maybe I could get into this racket as well. And so I acquired my first property and I bought it for around $40,000 in Chicago, this little bungalow. I spent around $17,000, $18,000 in doing little cosmetic renovations. And a couple of months later, I ended up selling it. I was into it for 60 grand. I ended up selling it for $97,000, $98,000. With all my expenses, this and that, I ended up with like $30,000, which was a lot of money at the time because the average salary was around $20,000, $30,000 for a whole year. So me making that in 4 months is like, whoa, this is something that's in my wheelhouse. I enjoyed it. And that's what got me rolling in it. And so what ended up happening. Yeah.
You got to talk to me about that a little bit, how you pulled the trigger on it, because as we know, oftentimes the new investor finds a property and the numbers look okay on paper, and then they just can't stomach it because you are taking on risk. And so for anybody that's listening or watching, you have to remember this piece. For every property that you buy with the intention of rehabbing it and making a profit, you have to know there's going to be a property that you wind up in the hole on because the market changes or your costs go overrun or just nobody wants to buy it.
Oh, you're enjoying this little clip? Well, the rest of the story is available on any of your podcast apps. Just go search for and subscribe to Crazy Shit in Real Estate with Leigh Brown.